I have just finished a 3-day challenge for therapists in private practice called Crafting Your 2025 Success. These free 1-hour workshops were designed to help therapists in private practice who really wanted to achieve big things this year work out how they could do that. In day 1, we went through our vision. In day 2, we learned all about our time and how we could make better use of it. And then in day 3, we actually did the goal planning. And combining these 3 things together is what is going to make a successful goal setting exercise. So what I thought would be fun for this video is for me to just give an overview about why I have chosen these 3 areas to concentrate on when it comes to crafting your successful year. And then also bring you into the workshops to see how I explained everything and all the things we did. There was also a free workbook as well, so I will link that in the description if you would like to get your own copy, because you can use this again and again when it comes to setting your goals throughout the year. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Kim. I help therapists in private practice with their business systems and processes, getting them confident with admin and reducing tech overwhelm. And I also have a membership for therapists in private practice called Goal Getters, and the membership doors are currently open for a very short time. And this is what we do in the membership. As the name suggests, we are all about getting our goals and making sure that we achieve big things. So if this is you, just scan the QR code and it will take you to a page to tell you all about how we can support you this year. So on day 1, we started with vision, and the quotes I love around this is, if you don't know where you're going, you will probably end up getting lost. And I think this is so true. If you do not know what your vision is for your future, why you are doing the things you are doing, then you'll probably end up making mistakes in the goals that you are setting. Your vision will provide you direction and purpose, and if you want to set smart goals, you need to know why you are setting those goals. They need to be relevant to your overall plan. A lot of people set goals with short-term thinking, which means that you are setting a goal that you think you need to achieve right now, as opposed to looking at the big picture and taking steps and making goals towards getting there. So you'll see in the workshop that we did an exercise to list all of the reasons that you got into private practice in the first place, both professional and personal. And we went really deep with those reasons so that once they came to setting their goals, they could really tie it back to one or more of those reasons that they started a private practice in the first place. You also want to create an emotional connection. So on those days where you know you are going to be doing some needle moving work, you're going to be doing some tasks that are going to get you towards your goal, but you don't feel like it. Maybe this task is boring. Maybe this task is really difficult and you actually don't know where to start. Or maybe this task just massively overwhelms you. You want to be able to remember, I'm doing this because. You want to have that emotional connection which will push you to do it anyway. And that therefore increases your accountability to yourself, to your goals and to your vision. So now we're going to jump into day 1 of the workshop and go through our vision exercises. Okay, so if you get your workbook out, we are really going to stick to this workbook and we're going to work through it together. So I think that that's really important when you create a workbook to actually spend the time to work through it, because there's a reason all of those things are on there, and I'm going to go through what they all are as we go through this call. So first thing I want you to just think about is, I want you to think about your why you started a private practice or why you're looking to start a private practice. And I'd love you to list down all the professional and personal reasons. I've given some examples that you could have. These might not be your reasons, and that's totally fine. This is why it's personal to you. I want you to have a think about what those reasons are. Just write down anything that comes to mind. And because this is all based around private practice and it's crafting your private practice success for 2025, we're really just focusing on that for now. When it comes to setting like all your goals and all the things you want to achieve, some of those things will have nothing really to do with private practice and have nothing to do with work. You know, I've got like a massive health goal at the moment because my back is absolutely killing. I'm 40 and I feel like an 80-year-old. I honestly cannot like walk half the time. So, you know, one of my goals is to really get healthy this year, in terms of like my fitness especially, and that has nothing to do with my business, but it does have, but I do obviously have goals to do with my business, and that's what we are focusing on today. And as you'll see, as we start planning our goals, if you don't tie your goals to a really big vision, like a really deep vision for yourself and your why, on those days where it comes to, okay, I need to take action on this goal, if it's not aligned with what you want, you're just not going to do it. You're going to be like, do you know what, I can't be bothered to do this. It doesn't, you need to have that deep reason in order to take those actions, especially when those actions sometimes are things that you would procrastinate on, things that you don't necessarily enjoy doing, but it's going to get you to that end result. Some examples I've put in the chat is the possibility to earn more money. Most people would earn more money in a private practice than working for an agency or working for someone like BetterHelp or something like that. Seeing the clients that you want, so specifically working with the clients that you know you'll do your best work with, being your own boss, so not having somebody else tell you what hours they want you to work and things like that. That's like usually things that kind of come up. So when you have written those reasons down, I'd like you to go a little bit deeper with them. I'd like you to ask yourself why you want that. So Shami, you had an amazing one there about your sleep quality and going a little bit deeper of why, because you have insomnia and you sleep better in the day. I love that. That's such a deep reason. And I'd love you to think about, not just you, everyone, if you've written some things down there. So Mara, why do you want more time and money? Like obviously most people want more time and money, but why specifically do you want more time and money? Really would love you to tie that to something that you want from that time and money. What would you do with the extra time? What would you do with the extra money? So start having a think about those deeper reasons as well. Ask yourself the question, why do I want that? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little brainstorming session. It's kind of leading on from what we've just done. And this is, I want you to finish this statement with 5 to 10 sentences about what being successful would look like and feel like to you. So I want you to finish the sentence. I know I'm successful when, and I'm going to give you a few examples from myself. So for me, I know I'm successful when my passive revenue exceeds my lifestyle needs. I'm successful when I'm working on projects that excite me and that I want to do. I know I'm successful when I enjoy everything I spend my time on and can outsource everything else. My work does not compromise my family time. I'm happy in a home I'm proud of and that meets all my family's needs, and I can work from anywhere. So there's some of the ones that I had. So it's not necessarily like, I know I'm successful when I have £1 million in the bank. You know, that's not, I want you to go a little bit deeper than that. I want you to think about the things that would make you happy. And that's when you know, like, I've made it, like I'm successful. And I hope that these exercises will help you connect to what it is that you really want out of this first quarter and this year, and just in general. These kind of things will really help you cement what it is that you want to be working on and what's most important to you. And that's what we're going to focus on in day 3. But we need to get these things done first, because lots of people pick their goals kind of out the air, or what they think they should be doing based on what other people are saying or doing. And really what you need to do is connect it to you, because it's such a personal thing. Is when you have your own business and your own life in general, is picking the goals that are really going to stick, because otherwise they just won't happen. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the life wheel, which I have adapted into private practice. Hello, welcome. And what I want you to do here is, where you've got the picture, if you printed it off, you can like color it in or just, you know, draw a line. For those of you working on the doc, you can just put the number in the boxes below. And there is no hard and fast rule to this. There's not like, you're a 10 if you feel like this, this and this. You're a 0 if you feel like this. I really want you to think about this just from a feeling you get when you see the word. So I want you to go around the wheel and have a think about how satisfied you feel with where you are now in terms of these things. So for example, if we look at finances as one, if you see that word and you're like, do you know what, things are good at the moment with my finances, I feel happy about them, I'm earning enough money, I'm able to take what I need from the business, you know, you're going to be up
on high on that satisfaction. Whereas if you are not bringing in enough money, if you don't feel sort of financially independent at the moment, if you're what you're bringing in is just about covering what you have to pay out for your private practice expenses, you're going to be a bit lower on, well, a lot lower, I guess, on the list. So I really want you to just feel this one. It's not like a practical thing. Lots of people, when I do this with people, they're like, oh, what would a 7 look like? But a 7 to me might look completely different to a 7 to you. So I'd love to just for you to take a couple of minutes just to fill that in. And just to say, life is not all about work. That's not why this is here. In Goal Getters, we have a different kind of life wheel, and it's more different areas of your life because we don't just focus on work. But just for this workshop, I really wanted to focus on looking at one goal that we can work towards for the end of this quarter towards, having a successful private practice. So that's why I don't want you to think that all I think about is work and this is what's important, because it isn't the only thing that's important, but it's what we're focusing on in this workshop. Okay, and for the final part of the day today, I'd love you to start thinking about what an ideal day would look like for you. So I want you to imagine yourself in the future having achieved the things you wanted this year, and kind of write a journal entry in the present tense, talking about what you've done that day, what you've got coming up that you're excited about. Write about how you're feeling about that. And some questions I kind of have for you that you can just have in the back of your mind. I'll put them in the chat as well. Is what time did you wake up? Where do you live? What types of clients are you seeing and how many? Who else do you speak to in a day? So maybe you have a PA that you speak to, maybe you have a supervisor that you speak to that you have a good relationship with. What other work are you doing? So not all about kind of private practice stuff or client work. Like, what else are you working on? If you've got any exciting projects coming up, things like that. What time do you finish work, and what do you do after work? So I want you to have a think about all of those things. I'm going to put those in the chat, and I'd just like you to I'm going to stop talking so you can concentrate, but I'd just like you to just spend sort of probably 8 to 10 minutes just really thinking about what your ideal day would look like if you could plan it. And we are basing it around work, so this is a work day that you're planning. I'm sure an ideal day would include a beach and a cocktail, not necessarily being in private practice, but let's pretend it's a work day. What's your ideal work day looking like? I would love to hear anybody who'd like to share any part. You don't have to share your whole ideal, that will take a long time. But if anyone has a key point that's come out that they either didn't really think about before this, and it's actually this would be ideal for me and I haven't even thought about that before, if something like that has come up for you, or something that you just know deep down, this is what I'm working towards, this is what I have to do in order to achieve big things this year, this is the one thing I want to work towards. So I'd love to know if anything like that has come up for anybody. So I really hope that you found day one useful. Sometimes people see this as a waste of time. I think that this is one of the biggest things that we need to do is tune back in with ourselves at least once a quarter in order to make goals, because the quarters do change a lot within us. The first quarter, most people are energized and ready to go. By the second quarter, people are not so they don't have the same energy. So if you don't get your vision back in place and you don't start looking at all of these things that we're going to be talking about, time management and things like that, you can really start to go on that downward slope of not going for your goals. And then summer comes and we're usually taking more time off and things just drop off. So we really want to build in that energy every single quarter.
Okay, so the next day we talked about time management, and the quote I love around this is, time flies, but the good news is you're the pilot. And the way I interpret this is that time is going to move on regardless, it's going to fly by, but how you spend your time, how productive you are in those minutes and hours is down to you. And we have the capacity to make the most of our time. And that's what I wanted to get across in day 2 session. If you do not know how much time you have to take the action steps that you need to take to achieve the goal, you will not achieve the goal. Most people set goals that are way too big and ambitious. And I understand why people do that. But if they understood how much time they actually had to spend on these goals, they would be able to narrow that down and achieve more. People want to achieve the big goals, they want to set big goals, and then they get completely overwhelmed and disheartened when they are nowhere near it. And we have been working on that a lot in Goal Getters to make sure that people are setting smart goals, to make sure that they are achievable in the time that they have available. And we've been working on that a lot every single quarter in Goal Getters to make sure that these goals really are smart. So now we're going to jump into day 2 of the Crafting Your 2025 Success workshop so you can understand how to manage your time effectively.
Okay, so welcome everyone to Crafting Your 2025 Success, day 2. Today we are doing time management. So it's really important when setting your goals that, one, you have your vision in place. You know why you are setting these goals. You know why you want to achieve them. But the second point of that is really understanding how much time you have to actually achieve these goals, because you might set yourself these audacious goals, but if you've only got a couple of hours a week to work on them, you are never going to hit them. We're going to talk about how to set SMART goals and things like that tomorrow, but what I really want you to have a really good understanding of by the end of this workshop is how much time you actually have in a week for you to be able to strategically work on your goals. Okay, so in your workbook, you should see that you have a calendar type thing. So it's Monday to Sunday, and then you've got like hour blocks. So what we're going to do is we're going to time block every hour of our week as much as possible. So I do like to have some white space. I call it white space, which is basically like I don't have my whole weekend time blocked. There are a couple of things that are in there. I take my son to parkour lessons, and every Sunday night we have a family dinner, and then we have a movie night. So that's blocked in. But the other parts of my weekends, I do leave like space for just, you know, spontaneity and you know, just other things that might come up if I want to go out with a friend or something like that. So I don't have like my whole lifetime blocked, but my whole working days are literally time blocked to the minute. There is not 1 minute of white space, and that is why I think that I do get so much done and I'm so productive, because I know when I start the day exactly where I'm supposed to be at every time. Even like going for a walk, having my lunch break, like all of those things are blocked in. I don't block in, you know, little things like making a cup of tea, but you know, I do time block basically everything else. So I have 5 key areas of time blocking. I'm going to go through the whole of the 5 areas, and then we're going to work together to do one at a time to help you break it down. But I want to explain what they all are first, because sometimes people have questions like, is this in this block or this block? And realistically, it doesn't matter. It's your time block. It's your rules. So what somebody might see as a must do, somebody else might see as a creative block, you know. So I'm going to go through all of those now so that you can write them down and put them in the chat as well. Okay, so I'm just going to let Esther in. Okay, so the first time block we have are the must do's. So this is your non-negotiables. They are things that have to be done in your week, and they are things that you have to do. So this could be things like any kind of childcare you might have, taking your children to school, you know, picking them up from school. It could be anything that you have agreed to, like with regards to if you have a personal trainer and you have like booked a session with him and it's paid for, and that's something that you're going to do. It could be caring for elderly relatives, going to hospital appointments that are regular, you know, that are not like ad hoc stuff. It's literally like you must do it every single week. So yeah, so I would class these things of things that other people rely on you for, like children, elderly relatives, or things that you have paid for. So that would come under your must-dos. The next section is your core work. So this is the work that you are paid for. So for most of you, it's going to be your one-to-one sessions with clients. And what I would suggest here is, if you are not full yet, but you know you want to work like let's say you've got 2 clients, but you want to have 10, block out the 10 sessions that you would like to work, because you can use those hours right now for other things like client acquisition. So I would say if you've got 8 hours free that you would like to see clients, you should be spending those 8 hours trying to get clients. And then obviously that would reduce as you replace it with clients. So that's what I would have my focus on. If I wanted 10 clients and I only had 2, that's what I would spend the other 8 hours on, because you know you want to work those hours, so you might as well start working those hours in your private practice. So you could do that as trying to get clients, or you could use that time for setting up your systems. So anything to do with, you know, working as a private practice owner, I would use those hours for. The next block are buffer blocks. So this is where you will schedule, and really this is up to you, but I would schedule blocks of time. So I do 2 30-minute sessions where I am doing admin tasks. So this might be checking your inbox. It could be doing some invoicing. It's basically non-needle moving stuff. So it's stuff you have to do. It's things that you can block together. So you could probably do all your invoicing in one day for the previous week or the upcoming week. You can check all your emails, you know, in one go. And it's things that but it's not stuff that's going to get you towards those big goals, right? It's just stuff you have to do. And this is really great to have buffer blocks, because then what you're doing is you're not going back and being pulled into your inbox every time you hear a ping of a notification. Oh, I've got another email. Oh, I've got another email. Because actually what you're thinking is, I've got some time when I'm going to do my emails. I know I'm going to check them at 1 o'clock. I don't need to worry about what's going on in that right now. So you could close it down, you can turn your notifications off, and it doesn't pull your mind away from what is actually really important, whether that is 10 minutes between seeing clients and you actually want to just make yourself a cup of tea or just have a break, then getting pulled back into your inbox, and then your mind is elsewhere. So they're buffer blocks. So how people do this in different stages. So sometimes you can do like separate sessions. You can do a whole hour block in a day. Depends on how much admin you have and how much you want to kind of get stuck into that. So I like to have 2 30-minute blocks, and I do that first thing in the morning and in the afternoon. But that's not a rule. That's up to you. Okay. The next block is a strategic block, and this is where you'll plan a chunk of time for your action taking. So again, the amount of time you have is really going to be dependent on, what's left, because you've already planned in your core work, your must-dos, and your buffer block. You also need to work with yourself. So some of the goal getters like planning in a big, 3-hour chunk of time. So one morning where they work solidly on their goals, and some people can't work like that because it's too much. So they schedule out 3-hour blocks throughout the week. So if you can get 3 hours, perfect. If not, you can only plan what time you have. But this is really important to know, how much time have you got to work on your goals. And then finally is a breakout or creative block. There should be some time in your week that's just for you. And I would like you to, if you can, to schedule some time in, because if you are constantly work, and you don't give yourself any breathing space, you're either business owner or mum or child that's looking after parent and business owner, like whatever it is that's in your life, you need to have some scheduled time for yourself in your week, just to not be thinking about your goals, not be thinking about your business, not be thinking about being a mum, just being you. And again, there's no specific set amount of time for this. It's what's left. People in different stages of life have different amounts of time, but schedule in some time for yourself. Okay, I went through those really, really fast, but what we're going to do now is we're going to spend realistically the rest of this session actually filling this in, and we're going to go one by one, and I'll tell you it again slowly. But I just wanted to give you an overview of all of them so that you knew you kind of had an idea where things are going to go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with those must-dos. Okay, and I'm going to give you a bit of time, so we'll probably do about 8 minutes for each one, but don't feel like you have to come along with me. If you have much more time, if you need much more time in one of the sections, that's totally fine. Just ignore me and carry on with what you're doing. But we're going to start with must-dos first. So this is all of the stuff that you must do. This is where you are somebody else is relying on you. so like children, or where you have paid for something and you've committed to some kind of appointment, like a personal trainer or some kind of class, or it could even be your own supervision that you've committed to. So anything like that. If you've not quite finished with that, please don't worry. Don't want you to worry that I'm going too fast. Just for time's sake, we have to move on, but you can always just go at your own pace. So the next one we are going to do is we are going to schedule in your core work. So remember, this is the work you are paid for. So mostly this is going to be one-to-one sessions, but it could be other things that you're doing, coaching, group work, whatever it is that you get paid for. Also remember, if you're not currently working to the level that you'd like to be working to, schedule them in as well. And you can put like to be confirmed client session or something like that, just so you do have that time available currently, but you'd like to replace it with clients sooner rather than later. So you can kind of mark them in a different color, or you can just put to be confirmed. Just mark some kind of way to show I want to be working at this point in the day. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so the next one after that one is the buffer blocks. So remember, this is where you are going to schedule in time to do your emails, to do your admin. So I would really try and plan some time to do specific admin tasks as well. So if you are, you do your invoicing once a week, maybe you have to update, all your medical insurance, something like that. I would schedule in specific time to do that and clump it together. So you just do it once a week, as opposed to maybe doing it at the end of every day. I mean, it depends how many you have. So maybe you would like to, break it up if it's too much. But the more you can get in the headspace of doing one thing, the more productive you're going to be, because moving yourself from being a therapist to being an admin person to being a marketer, like if you do all these things in one day, it's really hard to shift gear quickly and be productive. So if you can, time block all of your admin into one day, or at least as much as possible into one block, it's going to make you much more productive and give you much more time and headspace to do the actual needle moving work. So this one are the buffer blocks, and I've given you some ideas of how to do them, but it really is up to you and how you work best depending on how much you're doing, because maybe you're just setting up a private practice and actually you have a lot of admin to do because you need to, set up your systems and create your policies. So you might have more, but I would also put that as your strategic block, because it's needle moving to getting you to be a private practice. I wouldn't necessarily say that is buffer block time. Okay, 2 more to go. So the next block or blocks that we're going to put onto our timetable is the strategic blocks. So these are really the time that you are going to spend on your goals. So depending on how many you have, what time you have for those. So you are not going to be doing admin during this time. You're not seeing clients, you're not rushing about getting your shopping or anything like that. This really is where you can get into deep work to move the needle in your business on whatever it is that needs doing. So basically the remainder of your time, I would say, that's left is going to be put towards this, other than we know that we've also got this breakout or creative block that we'd like to give ourselves as well, if possible. So depending on how many goals you have, how big they are, really is going to depend on how much time you need / what's left, right? Because we've already put in all these other things, you might not have a lot of time left. But actually, isn't it better to know that? It's better to know actually how much time you realistically have, so that you can plan those SMART goals tomorrow. So that's what we're going to do next. So you're going to have a look at your calendar and see what's left for you to be able to put in the strategic blocks. And again, if you have a big chunk of time and you know that it takes you a little while to get yourself into that flow state, some of the Goal Getter members say it takes them like half an hour, 45 minutes before they even really get deep into like, I'm really in this now. And so if they only had an hour, they would have, only got 15-20 minutes worth of work done. And some people can't work like that. They can't give themselves like a massive amount of time to work on stuff, and actually having that shorter deadline means they get a lot of work done. So if they know they've only got an hour to work on stuff, they can really get to it quickly. So it really depends on how you work as a person. And if you've never done this before, you might not know that yet. So right now, you're just going to have to base it on what you think will work best for you. And then you can review that maybe at the end of March, or maybe as you come into summer and think, actually, this didn't work for me, and I think it'll be better if I do it the other way. So I'll give you a few minutes to add in your strategic blocks. Okay, and finally, we are going to, if you have any time left, which I hope you do have some, is just to plan that time for yourself, whether that is, you know, for me, I've added that in early in the morning. So I have an hour before my kids get up to do things for myself, because I don't really have time in the day. My kids go to school and they're the only hours that I can work. So I feel like I'm pretty limited in how long I have. And then when they're back, right, there's not much time. And my kids are a little bit older now as well, so they stay up later. So we're usually going to bed around the same time. So don't really have that like night time. So I try and plan mornings for myself, just to like get myself grounded and ready for the day. And also Friday afternoons, I try and keep free, even just 2 hours. So I work up until 12 and then have lunch, and then sort of like 12 till 2:30 are my time as well. Sometimes I do need to use that for work, but it's kind of like open. So, you know, if I can meet someone for lunch or go get my nails done or something like that, then I do that. So yes, so that's just the final one. We'll plan that in, and then we're going to have a little chat, and then we are going to do the final section. Okay, so we're just going to finish off with the last bit of the workbook for time. And what I would like you to do is have a look at your calendar and just see if you've got any holiday or training, things like that, because it's great to put on your weekly schedule, right, I've got 6 hours a week to work on my goals. But actually, this week I've got holiday. Next week I'm on a training course. You know, it's going to really reduce that time that you have to work. So we are currently in week 6. So next week will be week 7. So I'd like you to have a look at the rest of your month, like the rest of the quarter, sorry, for week 7, 8, ongoing, and just mark in your calendar if you have anything coming up which is going to stop you from being able to work on your goals. So I have 12 weeks in there because there are 12, there's actually 13 weeks in a quarter, but like I said to Aurora, we use week 13 as our reset week. So that's where we do our reflection and we do our time blocking and things like that. So we plan 12 weeks of kind of action taking, and then 1 week of planning and reflecting.
Okay, so in the third and final day, we are talking about goal planning. And the quote I love about this is, "A goal without action is just a dream." So there are loads of goals that I have. There are loads of big things that I want to achieve. But if I do not know the steps that I need to take to actually achieve them, then it's just a dream of mine. So for example, I want to move to a bigger house. Our family have outgrown the house that I live in, and I would like to get a bigger house. But if I do not know all the action steps I need to take in order to be able to get the finance for this house, to find the right area, all the things that I need to do to find this new house, then it's never going to happen, and it's just going to stay on my vision board year after year after year without me actually taking any action on it. So what you need to do is identify your key actions that you need to take on a daily, weekly and monthly basis to work towards your goal. And that is what we did in day 3 of the workshop. You want specific, measurable and actionable steps that you can take. And in the workshop, we talked about ways that you can do this via brainstorming and also using AI to help you with this. And then the final piece of that is actually putting all of these action steps onto your calendar, so they are booked in like any other important thing that's on your calendar, like going to the doctor, seeing your clients, etc. You want to make sure that you come to a time in your calendar where you know you're going to take action and you know exactly what you are going to do to help avoid procrastination. So let's jump into day 3 of the workshop so I can explain how to set SMART goals and how to set the action steps that you need to take to achieve your goals.
Okay, so welcome to day 3 of the Crafting Your 2025 Success. I can't believe we're on day 3 already. I've had such a blast doing this, and it's so lovely that you guys have turned up and are looking to achieve big things this year, and I really hope that I can help you with that today. We are going to get started in our workbooks, and if you have a look at day 3, what I want you to do is just flick back to your life wheel, the private practice life wheel. And I just want you to have a look and choose one area that you would like to focus on for 2025. So just give you a minute or two just to have a look at that and just choose one area that you're going to focus on. Okay, once you have your area, I'm going to jump to the next one. And we're just going to brain dump all the things that you can think about that would help you achieve and improve this area. Sorry. So we just want you to kind of have a few minutes to think about all the ways that you could improve this area of your private practice or of your life. But I assume everybody's kind of doing something to do with business. But you don't have to. Remember when you're doing this brainstorm as well, like you can do all of this, but you definitely can't do all of it in this quarter. So we want to write this down so we know it. We want to know, okay, these are things I could do. These are things I can concentrate on, but know that you can't do it all now, and that's okay. Don't get overwhelmed by, oh my God, this list is so long, like I'm never going to get through it, because you will, and other things will come up that's more important and will take over. But that's why I really recommend doing something like this every quarter, so you can really focus your attention, and that can change with your life as time goes by. Okay, so what I would like you to do is just look at that brainstorm that you have created, and I just want you to pick one thing that you are going to focus on for the next 8 weeks, so till the end of March. Don't worry about if it's too big or too small, because the next section we're going to make it smart, and then we can either make it a little bit bigger or we can shrink it down a little bit to make sure that it is achievable. Right, now comes the fun bit. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the goal that we have set is SMART. So that is, you'll see it in your workbook, but it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Now we've already taken care of the relevant and time bound because we did that in day 1 and day 2, right? So you're only picking this goal because it also ties into your vision. It also ties into your life wheel and what it is that you want to work on. So we've got that one ticked. We know that this goal is something we want to do because of day 1. And we've already sorted out the time bound. We are going to make sure that this goal is completed by the 31st of March. There is 31 days in March, right? Yep, there is 31st of March, 2025. So we're going to write that on there. So the relevant one, write down why it is. Why is this goal relevant to you? Write that down. And what is your deadline? We can put the 31st of March. Now, if you're looking at that thinking, there's no way I'm going to create a whole website by the 31st of March, you're right. You're probably not going to create a whole website, but you might be able to create 1 or 2 pages or even 3 pages. Okay, that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to make it specific and how we're going to make it achievable. It might be, I would love to grow my practice by 10 clients by the 31st of March. You're probably not going to do that. I mean, all realistic, you're probably going to get 1 or 2 more clients per month. So we want to make that more realistic. Realistic's not on there, but achievable is the same thing. So that's what I mean when it comes to specific. We don't want any wishy-washy goals. We don't want it, oh, did I achieve this? Like, did I not? That's not what we're aiming for. We really want to know what we're doing. So I want to create free pages for my new website, a home page, a service page, and an about me page. I want to get 4 new clients into my practice. Be specific, add numbers, add specific elements, like if it's a website. If you're struggling with this, let me know in the chat and I can kind of help you make it specific. We want to know when we've hit this goal. We want to know when we're on track. And you're only going to know that if it's specific. Okay, so once we've made it specific, we want to make it measurable. And here, how I'd say with measurable, like we want data, right? So using numbers and things like that. But also, how are you going to actually track? So for example, with getting new clients, you might have like my master client list template, and you can track, okay, I know I've got 6 clients and I know that I, get, 3 inquiries a month. So I will use this document to be able to track that I am getting more clients. So it can be things like that. If it's your website, it will just be, you want to make 3 web pages and what they are. So sometimes the specific and measurable can overlap a little bit depending on what your goal is. But how are you actually going to be able to track if you are achieving your goal? Again, with like client acquisition on social media, it would be numbers of posts that you're going to post a week or number of blogs that you're going to write. Like one of my goals last year was to get 1,000 subscribers, but that's an awful goal because I cannot do anything about that. I can't make people subscribe. Yes, I can ask people to subscribe on my channel, in my newsletters, but what I can do is I can put out one YouTube video every week. That is something I can control. So have a think about if this goal is something you can control or not. You can't say I'm going to get 10,000 Instagram followers. That's not a goal that you can actually have any influence on. But what you can influence on is I'm going to make 3 reels a week, which is going to like get that reach to get new followers, right? So you want to make sure that it's something you have control over. Okay, and I leave achievable till last because I think it's hard to do the achievable bit until you've done the others. I really think this is like a feeling to know if it's achievable to you. So it's part feeling and part looking at how much time you've got. So you might want to refine this bit, this SMART goal, once we've done the next bit. So where it says write out your goal after it's been given the SMART test, we're going to actually skip that bit and we're going to jump to the next bit of brainstorming. And I've got a little hack for you for this. So because we won't know if it's achievable until we've done all this, right? And know, okay, actually, this is going to take a lot longer than I thought. So we're skipping over that kind of achievable bit, unless you know, yes, I know I can do this, and you can write that down. Let's skip over the writing down the SMART test. And what I'd like you to do is, based on what you know, I'd love you to start brainstorming all of the things that you know you need to do to accomplish this goal. And again, we're staring at a white blank piece of paper, right? What you can do is go to ChatGPT, enter all of the information that you have put in this SMART section. So how long you've got to do it. You can even put, I have 3 hours a week to work on this, you know, whatever it is that you've got. Put all the information in and ask ChatGPT to give you a list of all the things you need to do to achieve this goal. And then you can ask, I say him, them, it, whatever, to break things down. So if there's a task that you don't understand what it's saying, or it seems really big, you can ask them to break it down. You can ask them to explain more. But it's a really good starting point to finding out what you need to do, because sometimes when it comes to a goal that you are looking to achieve, you actually don't know how to achieve it. You don't know the steps you need to take. But with ChatGPT, and I mean the internet in general, but more with AI, it's like easier than ever to find all the information that you need without you having to like hunt around or kind of guess. So I would really recommend, you know, using ChatGPT to your advantage. And I do have another YouTube video, which I will give you, which breaks down how to do this. Yeah, so just brainstorm all of the things you can think of with the help of ChatGPT to find out what you need to do to achieve this goal. Once you start doing your brainstorm as well, make sure to break down like bigger tasks as well. So if things are going to take more than like an hour, try and break them down a little bit, because sometimes you'll only have an hour to work on something. And if a task seems humongous, you'll just procrastinate and keep putting it off. So break it down into things that you can achieve in about an hour. Some things you won't be able to do that with, but the more you can, the more you will get done. So how is everyone kind of feeling after doing this task? Sometimes it's like really great and people are feeling like I've got this and I know what I'm doing now. And then sometimes it can be really overwhelming to look at all the things that we actually have to do to achieve the goal. But what I would say to that, if anyone is feeling overwhelmed, is that it's better to know that. It's better to know, because otherwise you just blissfully unaware and you'll just continue to not achieve your goals every single month, every single quarter, every single year, because you don't actually know what it takes to achieve the goal. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, that's okay. That's totally normal. And the more you do this, the less you will feel overwhelmed. The next section is having a look at those action items and actually planning out when you are going to do them. So I've said here, like, do one a week. Sorry, I'm saying like a lot, I've noticed tonight. I've said to do like one action step a week, but what I'd like you to do, because we're a little bit more advanced than that, we have our time blocking. We know exactly when we're going to be working on these goals and how long we've got. I would really like you to write down all of your dates and times when you are going to take action. So go through your diary, actually write them down on this table, and then fill in what you're going to do, because I don't want you to come to the 10th of February and you're like, what am I doing? I want you to have an exact knowing, I am going to write my first blog, I am going to upload my blog, whatever it is that you need to do. I would love you to know that. So from Monday up until the 31st of March, write down all of the dates and times and how long. So like 10th of February, 1 till 3. So you know how long you've got, and then what task you are going to do. And we're going to do that for the rest of the session.
So I really hope you found this video and the replays of the workshops really valuable. You can come back to this video every single quarter or every single year when you want to re-center yourself into your vision, have a look at your time management and set those new goals. If you would like some ongoing support from me and other members of the community, please consider joining our Goal Getters membership. Doors are only open for a few more days and then we will close them until 2026. There are lots of features within the membership that are really going to help you stay accountable and on track to achieve your goals, like a co-working room, accountability partners, workshops just like you've seen in this video, and also masterclasses based on the goals that the community are working towards. Goal Getters really is a low risk option, so come and join us. You can pay on a monthly basis and see what you can achieve this year. Until next time, thanks so much for watching.